Meantime, shares of Intel are now higher by almost 2% after posting fourth quarter results. Joining us now is Patrick Moorhead from More Insights and Strategy. Pat, good to see you again. We're back to talking Intel. Their Q4 numbers were pretty good, but they had some pull forward from Q1. Their guide was particularly weak on the top. But was there anything here in this weaker guide not to expect? Anything new on the downside?
No, there really isn't, John. And I think the expectations here were anything that wasn't a disaster would be a positive. I mean, they didn't miss on their guide, but they did hit on EPS and revenue. But if you look at the foundations of the different businesses, every one of the divisions except data center did pretty well. And I know that's a bit of an oxymoron because data center is so important. But all in all, it was pretty good news on the quarter. I'm particularly interested in what comes out in the call, though, because that's where we might have some interesting conversations.
Got a bit of a paradox, it seems to me, when it comes to Intel in particular. We've got all this talk out there with the AI environment, Stargate, about building data centers. Intel's particularly experienced in building data centers both domestically and around the world, but it doesn't have that convening power right now because its product track record has been particularly weak, and it tripped up on fabs as well. What's the prospect of, through the foundry business, Intel recapturing that mojo that will allow perhaps some partnerships or some alleviation of the capital burden it would face to pull that off?
Yeah, so John, I think getting back to its original mojo, where it had 95% revenue share in client in the data center with CPUs, I don't see that happening. But to the foundry question, I am hearing some very good things about 18A. And what happens is you won't get an all-in from somebody like an Apple until they have a demonstrated track record with, I will call it the easier stuff. And this is why the Amazon commitments and the Microsoft commitments so far to foundry were for networking chips, okay? I do believe once they demonstrate and show the confidence of that, which primarily they can do this with their own products like Panther Lake on the PC side, then people will come likely around 14. So it is positive news, hearing some good stuff about 18A on the foundry side. And right now, the street is really about show me. It's not the potential. They want to see the delivery of Intel.